Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a surprising new discovery about an everyday vegetable and its potential to fight a massive public health crisis. You probably look at a simple red tomato and just see a tasty addition to your salad. But, as I just found out, recent science has revealed an invisible compound locked inside that could be an absolute game-changer for human health.
Here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover the fatty liver epidemic, uncover the tomato's hidden secret, take a look inside the Tufts study, break down how phytoene burns fat, and finally end with your daily phytoene plate.
Section 1. The fatty liver epidemic, a growing public health crisis. To really get why this new research is so huge, we have to grasp the sheer scale of the problem.
100 million. Let that sink in for a second. An estimated 100 million adults in the United States are affected by this condition. That is literally more than 1 in 3 American adults. It's an absolutely massive portion of the population walking around with a progressive liver condition. And honestly, many don't even realize it in the early stages.
And if you look at folks living with obesity or diabetes, wow, that number absolutely skyrockets to about 75%. When you've got 3/4 of a high-risk group affected by a single condition, finding an accessible, effective intervention becomes a serious race against the clock for the medical community. You'll often hear this called metabolic dysfunction-associated steatotic liver disease. Yeah, I know it's a total mouthful, but the concept is actually pretty straightforward. It's a slow progressive buildup of excessive fat right inside your liver cells. And it doesn't just sit there being harmless. Over time, it drives severe inflammation and damage and can eventually lead to advanced liver scarring, which we call cirrhosis.
Section 2, the tomato's hidden secret, beyond the red pigment, because surprisingly, a potential solution to this massive crisis might actually be hiding in plain sight.
For decades now, everybody has praised lycopene, that famous pigment that makes tomatoes red. It's been considered the absolute rock star nutrient, but it turns out the real unsung hero might actually be its invisible, colorless precursor, a compound called phytoene. It's basically the natural building block plants use to create all those vibrant red, yellow, and orange colors we see in the protosile, even though phytoene itself is completely invisible in a ripe tomato.
So how did scientists figure this out? Well, they've known for years that tomatoes are great for liver health, but then they noticed something really curious. Animal studies were showing that feeding them whole tomato powder protected their livers way better than giving them just purified lycopene alone. That was a huge aha moment. It strongly suggested some other mystery compound inside the whole tomato was doing some serious heavy lifting.
Lead author Na-Yeon Lee from Tufts University hit the nail on the head. She notes that while both lycopene and phytoene are abundant in tomatoes, previous research shows phytoene is actually much more readily absorbed by the body. And hey, that's the kicker, right? It totally doesn't matter how great a nutrient is if your body can't actually absorb it. Phytoene seems to bypass that hurdle brilliantly.
Moving on to Section 3, inside the Tufts study, putting phytoene to the test.
To see what this invisible compound could really do, researchers set up a pretty intense, highly structured experiment. Step 1, they fed mice a highly refined, sugary, high-carb diet for 6 solid months to mimic our not-so-great human eating habits. Step 2, they gave half of those mice a phytoene supplement. And Step 3, they compared the results, looking deep into their liver health, overall metabolism, and even gut bacteria.
Which brings us to Section 4, how phytoene burns fat, the microscopic mechanism. So what actually happened inside those livers?
The results were honestly pretty wild. The mice stuck on that terrible high-carb diet, but who were given the phytoene supplement, developed substantially less severe fatty liver disease than the unprotected group. The phytoene acted like a literal biological shield against a diet that absolutely should have wrecked their livers.
But how exactly did it do that? Well, the researchers found that it didn't just alter the gut microbiome like a lot of diets do. Instead, phytoene went straight to work directly inside the liver itself. It activated specific key proteins involved in regulating liver metabolism. Basically, it flipped biological switches, telling the liver, hey, burn this excess fat for energy, instead of letting it dangerously build up inside the cells.
Now here is where the science gets super fascinating. There is a catch. They tested mice that lacked the specific enzymes needed to break down phytoene. And guess what? Those mice accumulated huge amounts of phytoene, but received absolutely zero liver protection. That means the whole phytoene molecule itself isn't the shield. Your body actually has to use its own enzymes to break it down into smaller active pieces to unlock those benefits.
And it gets even more complex.
They discovered that biological sex actually plays a huge role here, which is wild. Female mice ended up accumulating way more phytoene in their livers than the males did. This strongly suggests our biological sex dictates how we process this specific compound, which opens the door for some incredibly targeted, personalized nutrition research down the line.
All right, final section, your daily phytoene play. Bringing the science home. Let's translate all this microscopic enzyme talk into something you can actually use.
So, what does this mean for your grocery list? If you wanted to match the human equivalent dose used to protect the mice in this study, it's actually super doable. We're talking 3 to 4 medium-sized raw tomatoes a day. Or, if you're more into cooking, or hey, just eating it with a spoon, no judgment, just 100 grams, which is about 1/3 of a cup of tomato paste. It's a completely realistic dietary addition for most of us.
Senior author Xiongdong Wang sums up perfectly why this is such a big deal. He says that if future research validates this in humans, just encouraging people to eat more phytoene-rich foods could be a fantastic, non-invasive strategy to prevent or slow down metabolic liver disease. Think about that. Tackling a crisis affecting 100 million Americans just by optimizing what they put on their dinner plates.
And the best part? You don't even have to stick to just tomatoes. Because phytoene is a foundational building block for plant pigments, it's packed into all sorts of delicious, colorful, everyday foods. Carrots, red peppers, pink grapefruit, watermelon, and apricots are all absolutely fantastic ways to get your daily dose of this invisible, fat-burning precursor.
As we wrap up this explainer, it leaves us with a really provocative question to chew on. Since we know you need specific enzymes to unlock these benefits, and since biological sex plays a role, do your own unique genetics dictate how well your body processes this hidden super nutrient? It's a thrilling frontier in personalized nutrition, and honestly, it makes the humbled tomato seem a whole lot more complex and potentially powerful than we ever realized.